This inquiry helps you prepare the observed matter activity. This hands-on activity requires 15 minutes of prep time, takes 30 minutes to complete, and works best when students are placed in small groups. The purpose of this activity is for students to investigate differences in types of matter and how well they can change shape. Matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. It can exist in three main states: solid, liquid, or gas. All matter is made up of very small particles that are arranged in different ways. Solids have a definite shape. They do not change shape when moved to a different container. Liquids do not have a definite shape. They can change shape to fit their container. Gases do not have a definite shape either. They can also change their shape to fill their container. As you prepare for this activity, complete this checklist before class starts. First, gather the materials. Each group needs a syringe,
There's a tendency to use the formative assessment probes at the beginning to elicit students' initial ideas, but the probes can actually be used throughout a sequence of instruction, at the beginning, throughout the learning process, and even at the end for reflection. A strategy that you can use to get students to reflect back on how their ideas have changed is called "I used to think, but now I know." And students fill in the blanks with what they used to think when they first responded to the probe and what they now know, which are their new ideas, how they've either changed or been solidified as they went through the learning process. So it's a reflection strategy that gives students an opportunity to look back and think about how their ideas have changed. And it also is a strategy that you can use to see if your instruction was effective, to see if students actually changed their initial thinking and moved towards the scientific idea. There are several anonymous strategies that you can use to collect student responses. One of these strategies that is quite engaging to students is called commit and toss. It works like this. After students have selected their answer choice and they've constructed their explanation, have the students stand up with the probe in their hand and crumple it into a ball. When you give them the signal to toss, the students toss their balls throughout the classroom. And when you give them the signal to stop, they pick up one of the balls and then they open it, they take a look at the answer choice, they read the explanation, and from that point on, they only speak from the paper that's in their hand. So this is anonymous because students are not sharing their own thinking, but they're sharing what's on the paper that's in their hand. This is a strategy that promotes learning because all students are engaged in examining the answer choices, but at the same time it's safe for students because no one is identified with their own individual answer choice. It's also a strategy that informs instruction because the teacher can quickly poll the class, for instance, by saying, raise your hand if you have a paper that chose answer choice A, answer choice B, and so on. So you can get a quick read of where the class is. Now, if tossing paper around your classroom may get a little bit out of control, you might want to use a variation of this strategy called commit, fold, and pass. Again, students commit to their answer choice, they construct their explanation, and then when students are ready, have them stand up, holding their paper, folding it in half, and when you give the signal, they exchange papers and they pass their papers around the class until you give them the signal to stop, and then they open up the paper that they have in their hand, they look at the answer choice, they examine the explanation, and they speak from that paper that's in their hand from that point on.